Welcome back from the ad break, and let's continue with our lesson. Remember, we are working with the application questions, which means that we are working with multiple operations. And when we are working with multiple operations, we need to remember to work on either sides of the addition or the subtraction. So we have number 3 there, and it reads negative 60 divided by a negative 3 minus a positive 2 multiplied by a negative 11. So we've identified where the minus is or where the subtraction is. That means we're going to work on either sides of that. So we'll be working with those two groups. So negative 60 divided by a negative 3. We are dividing two negative numbers. This means that our answer is going to be a positive value. And when we just divide the natural numbers, that is 60 divided by 3, and that gives us a 20. And that 20 is going to be positive. Why? Because we are dividing two negative numbers. Then minus, and we are going to be working with that 2 multiplied by a negative 11. Now, a positive number multiplied by a negative number will give us a negative result. So that means that we are going to say what is 2 multiplied by negative 11. We know the answer is going to be negative, and 2 multiplied by 11 is 22. Then we have to remember addition and subtraction of our integers. We are now saying a positive 20 minus a negative 22. And that is going to give us a positive 42 as our answer. Did you get that correct? I really hope that you did. Let's move on to number 4. So we have there the cube root of 27 multiplied by the cube root of 64 plus 5. Remember, if it's a positive cube root, it's going to be a positive answer. And if it's a negative cube root, it's going to be a negative answer. In this case, both of our cube roots are positive. That means that the answers that are going to come from there are going to be positive. So what is the cube root of 27? That is a positive 3 because we are working with a positive 27. We are going to multiply that with the cube root of 64. If you have 4 as your answer, then you are absolutely correct. And remember, because we are working on either sides of the addition or subtraction, that means that we are going to start with those two integers, and that is going to be two positive numbers that are being multiplied. That is a positive answer. So a positive 3 multiplied by a positive 4, that is a positive 12. When we add the 5, that is going to be a positive 17. Let's look at the next one. I have there negative 5 in brackets squared. Remember, that shows that the whole negative 5 is being squared. We have that divided by the square root of 5 squared plus 3 open bracket 7 minus 2 close bracket minus 4 multiplied by 2. We learned different methods of how we can work this out. But what you need to remember here is to work on either sides of the addition or subtraction. So there we actually have 3 terms and 3 terms only. So we are going to work with them one at a time. When I look at a negative 5 squared, that will give me a positive answer, and the square root of 5 squared is actually just 5. Then we have in the brackets, I'm just going to add it. Remember, you have a choice of distributing it as well. So now we have 7 minus 2, and that is going to be a 5. And then we still have our minus, and then when we subtract there, what is 4 multiplied by 2? We are going to be subtracting an 8. But of course, as you can see, we can simplify it further. 25 divided by 5, that is a 5. 3 multiplied by 5, that is our 15. And they are positive because we are multiplying two positive numbers. And then in the end, we are going to subtract the 8, and then that will give us what is 5 plus 15, that is 20. When we subtract 8, that will give us a nice answer of 12. So although it looked a bit difficult, actually when you break everything down and when you remember your rules that you have to apply while solving for multiple operations, then you will be okay. Let's look at number 6. So again, number 6, we have there a positive 8 that is being squared. And then we have a negative 1 that is also being squared. And in the end, we are going to add the 2. So we are going to work with that lot and then the 2 separately. So the negative is outside of the bracket. The negative is not being squared. So the negative remains as it is. And 8 squared is 64. We are multiplying this with a negative 1 squared. But negative 1 squared is 1. Why? Because I am saying a negative 1 multiplied by a negative 1. Those are two negatives. The answer will be positive. And then we are going to add the 2. So negative 64 multiplied by 1, again taking us back to the properties of 1. If we multiply any number by 1, that number remains the same. So this is going to be negative 64 plus 2, and in the end, that gives us an answer of negative 62. Remember, when you are adding integers, you take the sign of the one that is furthest away from the equal sign, then you just subtract those natural numbers, and that's where that answer of negative 62 comes from. Let's look at number 7 and number 8, but we're going to look at number 7 first. Multiple operations work on either side of the addition or subtraction. So there's the addition there. That means we are going to work with that one side. And then after that, we are going to work with that 3 alone, because right after the 3, there is a minus. Then we are also going to work with that 12 divided by 2. Again, as you can see, we only have 3 terms because we are working on other sides of the addition and the subtraction, and each term we need to calculate appropriately. So now we have the 2 multiplied by, and what is 4 squared? That is 16. We are going to divide this by 2 multiplied by 4, which gives us an answer of 8. Then we are going to add the 3, and we are going to subtract 12 divided by 2, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. Then we have there 2 multiplied by 16, that gives us 32. We divide that by 8, we add 3, and we subtract 6. Then 32 divided by 8 is 4. And we are going to add the 3, subtract the 6. And what answer does this give us? 4 plus 3, that is our 7, minus 6, and that gives us an answer of 1. Let's move on to the last one, number 8. There we have a negative square root of 36. What does this mean? Remember, when it comes to square roots, all of them, all the square numbers are positive. But the square root of that positive number can either be a positive or a negative. In this case, we are not lost, we are not confused, we know what they are looking for. They have specified that they are looking for the negative square root of that 36. And that will give us a negative 6. And we are going to divide this by the cube root of negative 8. Now remember again, a negative cube number produces a negative square root. So there we have a negative 2 as our answer. And remember, because we are working on either sides of the addition and subtraction, we have 3 terms there again. I'm going to work as it is. We are going to say minus 2 multiplied by 6. That is minusing a 12. then we are going to add a 20 divided by a 2. That is 20 divided by 2 is 10. So the next step, we are dividing two negative numbers. So that means that our answer is going to be positive. 6 divided by 2, that will give us a 3, minus 12 plus a 10. And when you calculate that, remember, we are going to say the positive 3 minus the positive 12. And because we are subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number, our answer is going to be negative. A positive 3 minus a positive 12 is negative 9. And not forgetting to add that 10. And now we are adding a positive number and a negative number. And if you remember how we work with that, we are going to take the sign of the one that is furthest away from the 0. And although it looks quite close, the 10 is the one that is furthest away from the 0. That is a positive 10. That means our answer is going to be positive. And we just subtract those natural numbers, and that is going to give us a positive 1 as our final answer. Let's quickly go to an ad break, and then we'll see you just now.